What is up, everybody? It's Friday night. Your weekend starts here. And it's myself and Mr. Chris Stonage. We've been abandoned, Chris. Usually we'd be a threesome in these scenarios, but Mr. Murphy's living it up with Robbie Fowler over there in Liverpool.
He is the lucky boy. But look, at least I'm here, mate. At least you know I'm here. It's fine. It could be worse. Well, to be fair, you got one less person to bully this week.
Your top's making me hungry. It reminds me of like a Wham bar or like a Roy of the Rovers bar or something like that. Like fruit salad. That's it.
Yeah. Scotland 94, mate. Elite kit. It
is top tier kit, yes. I do love a bit of retro, as you know, and I'm glad to see you're building your collection.
Oh yeah, this is a proper fake one though. I'm not gonna lie. I bought it for the way it looked rather than the actual, because I'm sure the actual shirt costs a lot more out of my budget than a lot of things. So
fair to say then you won't be buying the Maradona 86 shirt that's up for auction at the minute.
Yeah. Isn't that like 5 mil or something?
Opening bid on it is 4 million. Yeah.
Blimey, it's just mental. But look, it's a hand of God, isn't it? That's what it is.
Yeah, I think it was one of the English players swapped it with Maradona after the game, and like fair play to him for holding on to it this long. Like that is that's some amount of money, man, for a shirt. I mean, is there a more iconic shirt though, or a more talked about moment? It has to be one of the biggest in World Cup history.
Maybe a Pele 58 shirt or something like that. But even then, there's no icon as much of an iconic moment as in football, I don't think, than that hand of God because of the level of shithousery it was. So yeah, it was unbelievable, and England lost, and I'm always up for that.
Do you know what else though? What always kind of gets glossed over is the hand of God is what that game will be remembered for, but his other goal is one of the greatest World Cup goals you'll ever see scored.
Exactly, but that's what you get. That's what you get with Diego Maradona. That is the game to sum him up, isn't it? The unbelievably talented, beautiful dribbler of the ball, and then you have Diego Maradona, pure shithousery, and the fact that he punched the ball in the net is what he'll always be remembered for.
Brilliant. Long may it continue. I do love seeing English heads fall off sometimes about that moment, about that particular one. Look, my friends, we are being brought to you tonight, as we have been all month, by the all-conquering Surfshark. Make sure that you use the link in our description, because that will get you 83% off and 3 months additional free of the best VPN provider on the market. Chris, we use it. All of us use it. We use it for the Canadian DAZN account. We use it for Netflix and a few other things. And I've used a lot of VPNs over the years, mate. Some of them free, some of them paid for, but this works flawlessly.
It is unbelievable. I'm not even going to lie to you. When Craig was like, I think it was the Aston Villa game that I first learned about it, the Aston Villa home game. And Craig was like, oh yeah, you can watch it. You should use Surfshark. And honestly, it's worth it. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's so easy that you go in, you just pick a country, pick an area you want to be in, and that's it. That's Surfshark working for you in the background. And not only that, they will secure your data with industry-leading measures using uncrackable encryption, the most secure VPN protocols. And I don't know about you, Chris, but I've been hacked a couple of times over the years. One of our PayPal accounts was hacked many years back, and I wish I had somebody that was looking out for me like Surfshark are.
Exactly. I've personally never had that experience, but I'd hate for it to happen. So yeah, make sure you get Surfshark, guys. Honestly, it's well worth it.
Yeah, because look, I won't lie to you. I'm not somebody that understands the security side of the internet too well, but I do know Surfshark have got your back. So use the link in the description or the code AnfieldAgenda at checkout. Right, Chris, where to start, my man? Where to start? I mean, obviously we've got Everton rocking up to Anfield, a game which you're going to be going down to. So I'm very envious of that one. I've been to a few derbies, and they're usually lots of fun.
Yeah, I've actually got 100% success record in derbies. Which is good news. I've only been to one, so that'll be why. 2016-17, Coutinho scored a curler and Origi scored, actually. And I'd expect nothing less from this one coming up. I just don't think... I think it's, again, same as the United game, the most confident I've ever been going into a Merseyside derby. These lot are bad, and we are very good. So, yeah, it's going to be a walk in the park, to be honest, Craig, and I'm looking forward to it.
Walk in Stanley Park, some might say, Chris. Walk in Stanley Park. So I would keep calling it my predictive. It is my predictive. I did my preferred 11 earlier on for the game. And this is what I went with. Let me tell you why, and then you can pick holes in it. So I went for Alisson, Trent, Robbo, Canade, Van Dijk. My thinking there was that Canade can absolutely stand up to Richarlison in a shithousery if needs be. Then I went Fabinho, Keita, Henderson, no Thiago, because I want him wrapped in cotton wool, not letting Everton break your toys. And then I went for the same front three that started the last game because they're all flying.
I'm very, very similar to you on that one, mate. I sort of don't want to see Naby in a weird way. I want to see him, but then I suppose he only came on in the last game, so I suppose he'll get in there, which is good. I think Hendo has to play for me, definitely in that midfield. It's a derby game, and I know we should actually be playing the game rather than the opponent, but these lot are trying shithouse everything, and our younger players need to have that older head on the field. I'd probably go for Kostas Tsimikas at left back, to be honest, Craig.
Oh, I was saving him for Villarreal because I think Villarreal are going to be compact, and I think Kostas is a bit more forward-thinking than Robbo. So for once, I did actually look ahead and have a reason behind it, but that was my thought process anyway. But again, I could understand where you're coming from because Kostas, like Robbo, is no shrinking violet, and he'd love a bit of shithousery.
Exactly. Who's on that right-hand side? Anthony Gordon. Actually, to be fair, I want Robbo on that. I want Robbo playing. I want Robbo to rough Anthony Gordon up.
I didn't realise that we'd released Gordon earlier on in his career. Yeah. I was reading a piece in The Athletic today about the differences between the academies, and part of the piece was speaking about Gordon. They were saying that Liverpool released him because of worries about his physicality, about his size, basically.
Well, yeah, and he's a little scrapper, to be fair. He's a little fighter, and he's probably one of Everton's brighter players this season, if not their brightest player. Wouldn't get anywhere near our team, by the way, but
that was the kind of point of the argument. Some people were saying, well, that was very short-sighted by Liverpool, but Simon Hughes, who wrote the piece, said, in fairness, he probably wouldn't have gotten to where he is now if he was in the Liverpool setup, because he wouldn't have had the opportunity that Everton were able to provide him. So I thought it was an enjoyable piece, as they usually are, to be fair, in The Athletic.
They usually are, especially Simon Hughes pieces. I love Simon Hughes' pieces. But yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty much sold on Kostas Tsimikas starting on against Villarreal now, and Andy Robbo to play against him. But maybe in the front three, I'd like to see Jota play. I think.
Yeah, good show.
His values
said that to me earlier as well.
His value's shot down a little bit, purely because Mane's come very, very good recently, and Luis Diaz has come in and really impressed. But we can't forget how amazing Diogo has been this season. And I think he'll start, and I think he'll score, to be honest with you. And I think he might be one of the main catalysts as to us getting a quick start in the game and hopefully rolling them over.
Okay.
If it happens, it happens, right? I'm not worried about that. But Jurgen does have history of putting random stuff out in the derby. I remember when Dom Solanke started at Anfield. When Mo scored his Puskas goal, Dom Solanke started that game. So who knows what happens?
Who knows? I'll see. We'll wait and see. Right, I'm going to give the chat a choice. Do you want us to talk about Mbappe first, or do you want us to talk about the latest Mohamed Salah contract interview? I will leave it to you guys to decide. And while I'm doing that, Chris, while the chat are having their say, give us your score prediction for this Merseyside derby.
Paddy said 6-0 for United. I'm going to go 5-0 for this. I genuinely think there's no chance whatsoever. I'm that confident. Everton are awful, and they're going to be in the relegation zone by the time they leave. They go across Stanley Park again on Sunday. Yeah,
it's I was trying to find any omens, by the way, looking ahead to City's games as well. I didn't realise that Watford have never beaten them, 14 games, never beaten them. So I'm not holding out much hope there either.
Didn't they lose 6-0 in the FA Cup final to them, or something like that?
I don't know, mate. I don't know. I can't remember. But yeah, I'm not holding out. But I am holding out hope for Leeds next week.
There's more hope of Leeds than Watford. Honestly, it could be carnage tomorrow for Roy Hodgson. It almost is so unlikely that it might actually happen, though. That's the thing. It is. I would say it's 99.9 in favour of City battering them at least 3 or 4-0. But who knows what happens? It's football. As I say, there's 11v11. Anything can happen. Right. So reading the chat, would you think it's fair to say we go to Mbappe first, Chris? Is that a fair reflection of the chat? Yeah, I think so. There's been a few Salahs in there, and don't worry, we will get to it. But yeah, oh god, we won't be. I have a lot I want to say about the Salah stuff actually, but look, we will do as has been requested. Let's go and have a chat about Kylian Mbappe. Now, I have to say, Chris, when Connor first forwarded me on this post from, I think it was the Anfield Talk, who were quoting Get French Football News, to say that
the project appeals to Kylian Mbappe as well as, of course, the financial side of it. But I mean, they summarised somehow a situation where Liverpool could be his latest suitors. Now, your initial thoughts on this?
Take residence for Jahez and El Nacional. Take residence on Bullshit Island with this particular article. I have absolutely no qualms that Kylian Mbappe will end up a Real Madrid player one day, and if not, he'll just stay at PSG. I can't get excited, Craig. I can't let myself do it, mate. It's done it. I've done it before.
I'm not letting myself get excited either, Chris. But I did say something on the show, I think in the last week or two. I said that it baffled me that we're in a situation where Mbappe's on a free, and our owners were looking to try and buy him before he went to PSG from Monaco. Brought him on a nice little flight around the bay or wherever it was. And I found it very strange that in a situation where he's on a free this summer, if we genuinely had interest in him back then when the transfer fee was going to be in excess of 100 million, why wouldn't said owners have an interest right now? But I do think that there's no coincidences in football. And I think that this could be a bit of PR that the club are happy to allow out there if it maybe nudges Salah in the direction of, well, you're not indispensable, mate. We do have other targets if you should look to move on. So I wonder if maybe they're linked story-wise. But on that, though, on the thing about John W. Henry really wanting Salah or Mbappe when he was going from Monaco to PSG, why wouldn't we want them now? Is a genuine question. If that was real, if that interest was real back then, why wouldn't we be interested now when he's on a free?
I don't think Liverpool wouldn't be interested in Kylian Mbappe, because I think every football club on planet Earth would be linked and interested with Kylian Mbappe. There's no question. It's just whether it's a viable deal. And as you say, like back then, it wasn't a viable deal. Even though it's on a free now, it's not a free. Just think of all the loyalty bonus, the agent bonus that you'll be having with Kylian Mbappe, the wages which would extortionately blow apart the club's wage structure. We think Salah's wage demands are a little bit excessive. Blimey, you haven't even thought about Kylian Mbappe's. I think Liverpool will be interested, but it's just like it's like, I don't know, Craig. You look at Margot Robbie, right? You look at her from afar. You would take her 100%, but the offer's not there. Unlike
you, Chris, I have a collection of Margot Robbies dotted around the world, mate. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
I'm a big deal. In all seriousness, I get where you're coming from, but I wonder, for such a prestigious potential signing, could there be anything to be said for Nike stepping up a little bit here and trying to, grease the wheels to make this happen? Because will Nike really want to see one of their athletes in Kylian Mbappe go and stick on a Real Madrid Adidas shirt?
I suppose you're right there. There is a point to that. Who did PSG are Jordan, aren't they? So
no, they're Nike and Jordan. I think they're
Nike
both.
and Jordan. So
lucky bastard.
Yeah,
They're some great kits. They really do make some great stuff.
They've got some elite ones. My favorite one's the pink and purple one, the splattery one, which is really nice. I can't remember the other ones, but yeah, they've got some lovely ones. But yeah, that's a good point. I don't know how much Nike have control over Mbappe's career. I'm sure if they had the choice to give him to a Nike ran club or a sponsored club, then they'd be more than willing to push him in that direction. But I don't think they've got that much power, to be honest. I think Mbappe will have his own.
LeBron, who's quite friendly with Kylian Mbappe.
Hey, listen.
Who will also be releasing a range of Liverpool LeBron stuff in the coming months, I believe.
Are you going to be copping any of those, mate?
I might do, yeah. I won't, mate. I might do. I don't want to do Jordan dirty, because I do love Jordan stuff, as you can plainly see. But look, just to take a quote or a translation from piece of the article from Get French Football News' piece. So it says a prospective club's project and leaving a legacy in the game are bigger concerns for Mbappe than salary, and could see Liverpool, a far bigger club than Manchester City, as a more alluring proposition.
I can see him. I definitely rank Liverpool above Man City in the suitors. especially if Man City are, as it's reported, signing Erling Haaland. So I'd probably rank Liverpool second most likely to sign Kylian Mbappe behind Real Madrid. But I still think it's astronomically unlikely. Like we don't. I just can't see it. Like there's no one else in the world who will be able to prepare the financial package in comparison to Real Madrid, or the legacy package in comparison to Liverpool and Real Madrid. All arrows point to the Bernabeu, mate.
No, they do. I agree. If I had to stick 100 quid right now on where he ends up, I'm with you. I'm sticking it towards the Bernabeu.
On that point, though, Liverpool are probably second favourites for him.
Which kind of just leads through to my first point about why not? And look, we look at transfer fees a lot of the time, and they're amortized across 4 or 5 deals. But this wouldn't have so much as a transfer fee, but maybe a signing on bonus could be, spread out over the course of a few years at the club. And this is one player I think we can safely say that if you sign Kylian Mbappe, you got 5 years out of him, you're getting your money back at the end of the 5 years.
Whether it's in trophies or in resale value, 100%. Like he's, if there's anyone guaranteed to be a star, well, he's already a star. Like injury preventing, obviously, he is going to be one of the best players, if not the best player of his generation. So I suppose when you said why not, I'm sort of on that train. Like why wouldn't Liverpool go and sign for him? But then there's the financial issue again.
So, what type of wages would we guesstimate that he may be likely to earn at a club like Real Madrid? Because I think it's more tricky now because we don't know what type of signing on bonus, loyalty bonuses will be in the contract, and it probably will be a case of his base wage being X amount, but a signing on fee or stuff spread over a few years. So, right now they're not in Barcelona's shoes, but Real Madrid aren't extremely flush with cash either.
No, that's true. I think they'd have to sell players in order to be able to afford Mbappe, but have a group of players coming to the end of their sort of careers. What I think if any club can lure him, it'll be Real Madrid. He's on. I think there was an article back in February, back in the Independent, that said Mbappe would be on about £750,000 a week at PSG if he were to sign on. So arguably, Real Madrid would maybe have to play more than that in order to prize him away. And Liverpool would if obviously Liverpool were hunting him. So yeah, it's a difficult one for Mbappe, I think, to try and find the right suitors for him because there's not many. There's not much choice.
True. Thank you for this super chat, mate. Said, keep up good work, lads. If City get Haaland, only way we can match is to get Mbappe, in my opinion. Now, I'm trying to link this to the Salah conversation that we're going to have in a minute. And I have to say, and again, thank you, LRS18. I have to say that if there was one player in the world that I'd be willing to lose Mo for, enter Mr. Mbappe. And it's not just about, like, people will say to me, Craig, Salah's probably better right now than Mbappe, or Salah's had a better season than Mbappe. And look, you can make the argument that they're both absolutely supremely at the top of their games, but I would suggest that we could be looking at a future multiple Ballon d'Or winner, somebody who will only get better over the coming years. And it is because of that and the age aspect that I would be willing to sacrifice Mo for it. Now, this isn't just me saying this because the articles come up. I said this a year ago, 6 months ago, 3 months ago. He's the only player in the world I would have ever considered losing Mohamed Salah for. How would you feel in this mad hypothetical situation that we're throwing up here if that money was then used towards Mbappe?
Take context out of it. You've got a 29 going on to 30-year-old Egyptian king who has been amazing, but you take away the context of that. You take away he's 29 years old. Potentially in the next 5 to 6 years, he might be slowing down. You've got a player who's 22. Is Mbappe 22? And is putting up numbers that are similar, if not better. I think you take all the emotion out of it. It's a no-brainer, Craig. I agree with you 100%. You go for the younger, fresher. I wouldn't say hungry because I think Mo Salah is still very, very, very hungry. But like he's he's got so much time ahead of him that it would make financial sense to go for Kylian Mbappe in that hypothetical world. Now, do I think it will happen? Of course not. But like, I don't think you should feel any guilt going for that, because it's just logical. It is logical opinion.
Yeah, that's kind of where my head was at with it. And the age part did play a massive factor to it, because you will be freshening up. Now, look, we can both agree we don't want Mohamed Salah to move. We want Mohamed Salah to stay. But if that option was on the table right in front of me, I'd grab it with both hands. I would.
Shit,
I can't lie. Yeah, I would. I can't lie. I would. I'd take it. And you know what? Genuinely, I don't know about Haaland if I take the same deal. Not because I don't rate Haaland. I do. He's amazing. I just have a sneaking suspicion he's going to end up being plagued by injury.
If he's getting plagued by injury now in sort of still his developmental years, it is a little bit of a worrying factor. But then I suppose you look at some of the greatest players ever. Ronaldo Nazario, arguably we were robbed of seeing one of if not the greatest players ever there, because he was plagued by injury. Now that doesn't I'm not saying that Erling Haaland's going to be the same as Ronaldo Nazario, but you can still be an absolute world beater, be the best in the world, and be plagued by injuries. But I wouldn't swap in the same way that I would swap Mbappe, because I just think Mbappe suits Liverpool to a T, really, in every way. You can stick him through the middle, you can stick him out wide, you can even stick him on the left. He's good everywhere. And I think Jurgen Klopp managing Mbappe could really do some saucy things.
Can we be frank and honest here for a minute? I often wonder in these scenarios if it is the money, the footballing project, or the appeal of living in Madrid, Paris, or Liverpool. Because Liverpool's a great city in its own right, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't have the same allure or mystique maybe that like Paris, Madrid might have. It's maybe not as cosmopolitan. It's unique in its own beautiful self because of its musical history, obviously its maritime history, its footballing history. But, you know, I often wonder what young men and ladies do in Liverpool, sports stars. You know, you've got Jota who play FIFA all day long as an example, which is great. That keeps them happy. But for somebody like Kylian Mbappe, who, you know, may want to be out and about visiting the higher end places, I just wonder, and the weather as well. The weather makes me wonder sometimes, is that what really stops it? Like, I think back to Ronaldinho when he was linked with United before he went to Barcelona. I remember reading an article at the time that suggested that he wanted use of a helicopter every weekend to take him from Manchester to London so he could go out nightclubbing, and that's why Sir Alex Ferguson, you know, put the kibosh on that deal.
That's amazing if that's true. That's unbelievable. Honestly, it's a genuine concern. We forget these players are human beings. They have lives outside of football. It's just a job for them. So yeah, I'm sure it's a thing. I remember Alexis Sanchez when he was going to sign for Arsenal, and when Liverpool were heavily linked with him, and his girlfriend wanted to move to London. That's it.
She's no longer with, by the way. Let me put that out there.
Well, there you go. See, she clearly made the wrong decision on that one.
That killed. I couldn't understand how we could hold all the cards in that negotiation. They wanted Suarez. They couldn't get Sanchez out the door quick enough, and somehow we didn't get him. Because I tell you what, Chris, Alexis Sanchez at Liverpool at that time would have been special.
Would have been special. It would have certainly kept us out of the banter era for a few years, and maybe kept Jurgen Klopp away from Liverpool for a few years. So who knows? Who knows what the domino effect would have been if Alexis Sanchez had signed for Liverpool? It'd be really interesting to cover that actually, and just see what happened. But yeah, he would have been amazing. So look, players have lives outside of football. We have to realise that. Manchester, how much a great city. Liverpool's a great city. I'm sorry if I'm given a choice. I'm living in Paris or Madrid. I'm not going to lie.
I'm weird. I'm the opposite. I'm
really
definitely living in Manchester or Liverpool. Yeah, 100%.
Maybe not Paris actually, but Madrid.
I like to keep to myself and live quietly.
Madrid, though, what a place, and Spain in general is just a great place to be. In the sun, I just don't know.
You're
I
a
don't think
pro
I can live.
footballer, mate. You're not going to be short on holidays or trips away if needs be. Let's get to a couple of super chats that I want to just deal with and say thank you about. Reese, thank you, mate. Said, unrelated topic, what were your thoughts on Arsenal-Chelsea match and what do you think of how the top four race will pan out? And look, we're not finished with the Salah stuff, by the way, and I'll get to that in a sec. I was surprised at how well Arsenal played, Chris, and I was surprised at how easy it was for them to turn over Chelsea.
I tweeted after the game, I said this is comfortably the worst collective defensive performance of the season from both sides. I thought they were appalling, both of them defensively. And I know it's obviously we want to be treated to a spectacle of attacking football, but some of the defending was genuinely awful. I think we're so spoiled with Van Dijk, Matip, Konate, and Gomez. Like any of them makes a slight mistake and we're on it. We're like, oh, they finished. These lot, the Arsenal and Chelsea defenders are. I mean, Malang Sarr. I don't think I've seen a player more out of his depth. he honestly just didn't look up for it whatsoever. But yeah, credit to Arsenal. Nketiah's great finishes. Smith Rowe's goal was beautiful.
I've always liked that lad as a player, Smith Rowe. Really, really a lot to admire about him.
Yeah, I think he's just so talented individually on the ball. His dribbling ability is excellent, and that finish it proves you don't have to smash the ball. Just pass it into the corner, mate, because that's all you need to do. But the defending for the third, I think Nketiah's second goal, where they were just booting it against each other, it was appallingly bad, honestly. But yeah, so I don't think either of those. I don't think Arsenal will get in top four still. I'm not on that train, and Chelsea might be dragged back into the race. You see. Do
you think the North London derby probably sorts this out, the fourth place? Because I don't think United are going to be in the chase realistically. I think they'll do well to get anything from Arsenal actually this weekend.
Every week, my opinions change, because they all seem like they don't want to do it, mate. They don't want to get into that fourth spot. I mean, if West Ham weren't gunning for the Europa League, I'd be saying them. But I think their loyalties are divided there. I just think Tottenham have probably just about got it purely on the Conte factor, rather than Arteta's still inexperienced in this league, as well as United are just shit, so they're not getting it. So I think it's Tottenham for me. Tottenham.
Right, and this kind of brings us back to Salah. So thank you, Ali the Great. Said FSG aren't willing to give Salah 400 to 500 grand a week. There's no way that they'll be able to entice Mbappe. That's the main issue with FSG. We can't sign the world's biggest players in their prime. Okay, a lot to unpack there. So I think FSG are right not to give Mohamed Salah 500 grand a week. Let me put that out there. I don't think. I think they're right. I think that they've timed, and I think they've played their hand magnificently well in this negotiation with Mo to allow it to develop as it has. And I've seen from a PR side, I think there's been a couple of faux pas from Salah's side in recent months. A couple of misjudgments of the wind, which way it's blowing, and what way fans and stuff are thinking. And something Mohamed Salah said today, Chris, really confused me. He said, the fans know what I want. Now, I would say, mate, and I don't want to speak for everybody here, but do we? Genuinely, do we? And that was the comments that I was reading in the article as well. Do we know what he wants? Because if it's not all about money, and look, money has to be a part of the equation. Of course it does. But if it's not all about money, well, let's look at it subjectively. Adulation, absolutely loved by everybody here. A project for football, I think he's still in the right place. I think, we're at the peak of our powers. There could be something to the longevity of the manager situation, perhaps, but again, we're guessing. So other than that, I mean, there's been talk about the armband as an example. Like, should Mohamed Salah get the armband, or does he want the armband? I will put this out there. I don't think Mohamed Salah is a leader, a captain of our team. I don't think he is the kind of captain that we would need. I wouldn't have him in my top 5 for Liverpool captain, but it doesn't mean I don't rate him as a footballer, don't love him, don't think he's a magician. It just doesn't strike me as vocal enough to be our captain on the pitch.
Yeah, I think I would. I think when it comes to maybe not the voice thing, I don't think he's a shouter, but the way that he picked us up last season and the way that he conducted himself on social media, especially, I think I would do. But I surely that isn't the thing, because that's not been going around at all. I honestly have no idea. Maybe it's something to do with Jurgen's contract
So
as to why he's not signing the deal. But
our chat are saying that when he said the fans know what I want, that means he wants to stay, which fair enough, but sign the contract then. Like, what aren't you getting that you want that isn't money? That, I think we're all struggling to figure that out, because nobody will judge him for asking for money. He's in a position where he's every right to ask for what he believes is a fair wage for a reflection of his impact at Liverpool. No argument about that whatsoever. I have my own number in my head, but ultimately, if it's not just about money, then what else is it? Because I can't think of what else he could be lacking.
yeah, honestly, I've got absolutely no idea, Craig. Not a foggy clue, not in the foggiest clue. Like, there's no. If it's not money, as you said, like, how can you quantify anything else apart from the only thing I can think of, as I said earlier, is Jurgen Klopp's contract. That's it. That's all I can think of, and that is down to Jurgen. But then, why should Mo be basing his future off the potential of a manager? If he is that good that he believes he's worth said money, then surely he can do it under other managers as well. It's a really confusing situation, and hopefully, he can get it signed and done and dusted.
Yeah, look, we all hope that that's the outcome here. 100%. We want Mohamed Salah to stay at the club, but it does get a little bit confusing, because if we rewind back to the stuff that his agent had briefed Fabrizio Romano about, I think one of the things was that, one, he's not afraid to play for another Premier League club was mentioned, and two, the interest from, was it Juventus at the time? They were speaking about maybe moving over there. None of that kind of played into the he wants to stay. I mean, that one line about another Premier League club really, really annoyed me.
Yeah, I don't think Mo Salah would be comfortable playing for another Premier League club, to be honest. Not after the adulation that Liverpool fans are giving him. I think he's a better man than that, to be honest with you. But a lot of the comments are saying it's to do with the length of the deal.
Well, here's a super chat from Froggy that said, Egyptian reporter, money is the issue. It's the length of contract. Salah wants 5-year deal, not the 2-year extension FSG are offering. Yeah, look, I could see that. I could absolutely see how that could be a case. So a 2-year extension would be what, 3 years, take him through till he's 32, heading for 33. You would imagine, though, Chris, if that's the case, that you would just say, we'll sign the 3-year extension, which is a 4-year contract at the higher wage, or you get next year in the higher wage and the 3 additional years. Surely that there would be some easier way to resolve that issue if it's just around a year or so.
Yeah, personally, I think there's more than conclusive evidence that Mo Salah would be able to perform for a longer period of time than the usual. And I think the usual is extending for footballers. I mean, if you look at Messi and Ronaldo, just two examples, they've performed well into their 30s. Lewandowski, Karim Benzema is probably better than he ever has been in his mid-30s. Zlatan Ibrahimovic is 40 now and he's still performing. I think.
Where is he performing? Because I follow AC Milan's games and he ain't performing shit at the minute.
But in the last few years, he still has been late 30s. Even when he was at Manchester United, he was what, 35, 36, and still being one of the best players in the Premier League. I think the FSG model of the over 30 thing is a little bit dated, if I'm being honest. We need to be able to extend our players for longer than this, because players are getting fitter, and because they're getting trained younger and their bodies are more used to being durable to 90 minutes of football every 3 days. You know, that they're able to play for longer. And I think it's just a bit dated. Just give him the length of deal. I really, really would do. 4 years. I think that's conservative, to be honest.
Even at 5 years, Chris, I would say give it to him, because from the club's perspective, if he's 2 years into this, 2.5 years into it, and he ain't performing or starts angling for a move away, or if Klopp doesn't renew his contract and Salah doesn't like the next manager, at least there's resale value there. And I would say you would absolutely be able to sell a 32-year-old Mohamed Salah for a very substantial amount of money.
Exactly. Thinking about it, I think the length of contract is. It'd be awful if we gave him a 2 or 3 year extension. I just don't think it suits any parties whatsoever. As you said, the resale value for
the Hendo situation, because it's becoming clear that Hendo's role will diminish over the next few years, but we don't see that being the case for Mohamed Salah anytime soon.
No, exactly that. Exactly that. It suits all parties to have an extended contract because it's clear that Mo Salah will, it's clear to a blind man that Mo Salah will be able to play until he's 35, 36 at a good level. It's obviously clear to FSG that they'll still be able to make money off him if he did slightly dip down in form before that end of contract, before the contract ends. So yeah, I just think it would be the length of the deal needs to be 3, 4, maybe 5 years even to really get the most out of Mo Salah as a whole.
Now, one thing I suppose that we do have to keep track of is that Mohammed said he was very happy for it to go into the summer and into next season if needs be, but the owners will absolutely not be very happy to allow this to drag on to the summer and onwards, because the more it goes on, the more the likelihood of them losing a huge asset for free becomes more and more daunting.
I think as soon as it gets to the summer, that it's going to be plaguing us week on week. Even if we go and win the quadruple, I think even 3 or 4 days after that, we'll be worrying about Mo Salah's deal because he's that big of an institution. Obviously, the club is bigger, but Mo Salah's been a big part of that. I don't think the owners will be happy at all. Clubs can start talking to him in January, I believe, to get him on a Bosman deal. The owners do not want to lose him for free. So either for me, he signs the contract or he's sold.
Again, just to go back, Ali the Great, second super chat, thank you, mate. Said, I agree with y'all that FSG shouldn't give Salah 400 grand a week. My point was that Liverpool are the best team in the world and will never be able to get players like Mbappe because of the wage structure. That comment kind of got me thinking when I first read it, Ali. I guess that's okay as long as we're still successful. But if we stop being successful, then fans are going to be less understanding of maybe not moving into the bracket of paying people this really higher wage if it's stopping us from realizing our ambitions. Does that make any sense, or am I just kind of waffling a bit there?
I suppose I understand what you're going for, but I think realizing our ambitions, I think we are realizing our ambitions this season, right? We're competing for all 4 trophies now.
And it's
I think
so satisfying the way we're doing it, the way we're seeing I love the constant progression year on year of all the players. And look, we've been really, 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 I want to say fortunate, but then again, that's doing an injustice. We've been really clever that our last 2 major signings, 3, let's throw 3, Canade, Diogo Jota, and Luis Diaz, they have come in and they have been just flawless, seamless. The adaptation to this group has been amazing.
Yeah, exactly. This whole stuff about the wage structure, I ignore it when it comes to people trying to be the next Michael Edwards in the comment section. Like, look, Julian Ward, Michael Edwards, they know a lot more about football finance and scouting than we do, and they always do the business. We've got some unbelievable signings through the door. I think our last few signings, it's brought Kanate, Diaz, Kanate, Jota, Thiago, Tsimikas. It's been our last 5 signings. Like, they've all been fantastic. And they've all been for probably cheaper than they would be now. They've all improved and increased their value. Maybe apart from Thiago because of his age, but
he's increased his value.
That's not
he's increased his
no
value.
disrespect to Thiago. You know my thoughts on Thiago, Craig. We all everyone's just in shock of how good Thiago's been. So yeah, we'll be all right. Mbappe, Salah or not, like Liverpool will be fine. They will continue to realize their goals. It'll be all right. Don't panic.
John has made a point as well. Thank you, John. Lovely to see you back, mate. I hope all is well. Said, there's no certainty that we'll be as good or strong under our next manager. I'm burying my head in the sand a little bit with this, Chris. I'm just trying to block out that noise. I don't want to think past 2024. I refuse to think that the world is going to exist past there at this moment in time, because I am petrified of the day that Jurgen Klopp leaves this club, mate. I am petrified of it like nothing I've ever been more scared of before around this football club. I've seen players come and go, but I've never seen somebody of this ilk come and go, because I just missed Kenny's time as manager. So yeah, this will be my moment, mate, where if Klopp leaves, it will hurt like nothing else.
The only way I can try and comfort that is that one day Bill Shankly left. and that is a man who was a god to the Liverpoolian people. And who did Liverpool replace him with? Bob Paisley. I know the times are different now, but there is always someone out there who may do a better job. Who knows? We can't discount that.
Chris, I'll take the job. Fuck's sake! If it needs to be done, if you need another Messiah, I'm here. I'll come in and take the job.
Mate, listen, right? Going on the FIFA career mode, you get things done, right? You get things done.
I've been to Turkey. I know how to negotiate.
Exactly. There could be someone better out there. We don't know who could fit this. And as I said earlier, like in terms of the Salah contract, if he's so reliant on Jurgen Klopp, then surely he's not worth the money that he's suggesting. Like he should be able to go and perform amongst any manager if he thinks he's one of the best in the world. So I personally don't think that's the issue. It's got to be to do with, as some of the comments are saying, the UK becoming a citizen, or maybe becoming just a Liverpool legend and scoring as many goals as he can for the club.
Yeah, it's at what point do you start getting worried yourself about this situation? If let's say we are let's say we're in Paris, we've lifted the trophy, the lads are doing a lap of honour, we're all celebrating a quad, and then I bring you back to Steven Gerrard in 2005 when the camera was put in his face after they won in Istanbul, and he was asked about what he wants to do, what his future lies. What happens, mate, if we get to that point and Mohamed Salah hasn't signed the deal?
I can't pretend I'm not worried already. I am worried that he's not going to sign a contract and he will get sold. And when it comes to that moment, I feel sorry for players in that situation, because there's a whole lot of the whole contrasting emotions going through their head. But yeah, it'll be tough. It'll be really tough if Mo hasn't signed a deal before the end of the season, and on May 28th we're in Paris partying over there. It'll be tough, and hopefully he has got that microphone shoved under his nose, because it proves that we've won the game. But yeah, I'm worried now, Craig. I'm not going to lie. I am worried now.
What I will say is, and I give the man immense credit for this, and same for Naby Keita, same for Sadio Mane, is it's not distracting him. I don't think it is. I mean, yes, you could say, did it contribute to his lull in form? But I think statistically, if we look back over this time of the season, it's not unusual for Mo to go through a little period where he's not as prolific as he was. So, you know, seeing him and Sadio interacting with each other and praising each other for their assists, and seeing Mo play with a smile, that gave me some positivity.
Yeah, absolutely. But I always, when I see players playing with a smile, I was at Coutinho's last game against Leicester, and he was smiling. He looked so happy. I was like, Coutinho's staying, lads. He's staying. But maybe it's because he got his move. He got his move all sorted, and it was all done. I don't buy too much into it, but it is nice to see. And I think with Sadio coming back into form, I think it'll motivate Mo even more to sign the deal, to be honest. If it proves that he's still got world-class players around him, then why the hell not, man? I think he might have been doubting that before, but look, you got Sadio, you got Diogo, you got Diaz coming in as well. I mean, surely that'll motivate him, because his start's been amazing. So yeah, I hopefully he's motivated and hopefully he signs a deal, but I'm worried.
If it's the contract length and that potentially loses the player, I think that's unforgivable from FSG again.
Yeah, I do think it is, but as they say, the club is bigger. But I just think all the evidence, and FSG like to go on hard stats and evidence, points towards Mo Salah being able to play till his mid-30s. And if he goes, I don't know, to where's a viable place for him to go, Craig?
That's
Realistically,
my next question. Like, where does the man go? From a footballing standpoint, where does he go? Because financially, yes, there could be more lucrative offers, of course. But where does he go to achieve it? Like, he will absolutely want a Ballon d'Or. Make no bones about it, he will. Is there a better place for him right now in world football to go and achieve that potential than at Liverpool? I don't think there is, really. I don't
think there's any better place probably anywhere in the world to be at the moment than Liverpool. They're the only club in the world competing on all fronts in every competition that they've been set in this season. I just don't think there's any viable place for him to go if he wants to A, win that Ballon d'Or, and B, get a good financial package, and C, have that footballing legacy. People are saying PSG in the comments.
How many
Neymar syndrome.
PSG Ballon d'Or winners have we had?
I don't recall any, to be honest.
How many European Cups?
Don't really recall any. there's nowhere to be.
Rest my case. So
And that's what.
PSG,
Go on.
PSG, it can't be PSG. That's just a money grab. Let's be honest. That's all that is.
Newcastle fame. I love that. Maybe when he's 37. But as you said, I think that's why FSG have got such a strong negotiating position. Is because if Mo Salah genuinely wants a legacy, he genuinely wants to go and win that Ballon d'Or, like there's no better place for him than Liverpool, and they know that. They know that.
Let's flip it a little bit because I know you wanted to do a little segment on Naby Keita, and something that you were just saying to me before the stream. So you work away on that one.
Yeah. Klopp said that a fit Naby Keita is always brilliant, and I think Liverpool have got a fit Naby Keita this season, and I think it's just a little hint that he'll get a little contract extension. I'm almost certain of this one. I'd be putting my house on it that Naby will get a new contract because this season's been his best in Liverpool shirt. We've started to finally see what we paid 54 million for. He's just been excellent, hasn't he, mate? To be honest with you, he's been fantastic, and he's part of the best midfield three in the club, to be honest. So it would shock me if he wasn't given a new deal.
I was hopeful as soon as he said himself that Liverpool fans haven't seen the best of Naby Keita yet. That was the thing that made me really hopeful that we could see a new deal. Now, look, me, you, Paddy, we all want him to sign a new deal, but we have to take into account the perspective and the view of a lot of people and some in the chat who will feel like, one, has he earned a new deal? And two, should we be giving him a new deal based on the past few years of an injury record? Yeah, you can't ignore that in the conversation. But what I will say from my side is I don't like the idea of losing him for next to nothing either.
No, exactly. I think, again, financially, it would be worth giving him a new deal if you were to resell him on. He's so good when he's on it, mate. That Benfica game away from home, one of the best performances I've seen from Naby Keita in a Liverpool shirt. And out of the sort of 100, 105 performances, 105 games, I can only think of a couple of real stinkers he's had. He's been mostly consistent when he's played. He's been, he's just a beautiful player to watch as well when he dribbles past. Until Thiago came, he was the best midfielder at the club on form. If he ever got on form, that's due to his injuries. But yeah, I think it would be idiotic not to give him a new deal based on this season, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. But I think that those who question it, I think they have a valid point to question.
Absolutely.
It's not one of these where I think I'm right and everybody else is wrong. I do understand the perspective of why other people would look at it and go, really? Should we commit X amount of money and another 4 years and another midfield place to somebody who hasn't had the impact that we'd have hoped?
No, absolutely. But I think he's starting to have that impact now. And it looks like he has turned a corner on his injuries. And I think with the squad we have and the depth we have in midfield, we can rotate Naby more. And yeah, we'll go on and we might go and sign a few more midfielders in the future that Naby can nurture, e.g. Choo. So yeah, I'm more on that train, and I think yeah, it makes financial sense to me, and it's the same with the Mo one.
And the last player who's in a similar contract situation outside of Chamberlain, who I think we all agree is most likely to move on if we can find a buyer, is Sadio, who, we got a little bit of grief in the comment section the last few weeks because how dare we change our opinion on Sadio when he moved position and feel like he's had a new lease of life there, because apparently we're not allowed to evolve our thought process. So for me, again, it's a no-brainer. Give him a contract.
Yeah, and we can't forget how robust Sadio Mane is as well. We had the same conversation about Mo Salah. Sadio Mane is hardly ever injured. And he's provided consistent numbers since the time he's been at Anfield. And this season, I know last season and probably the start of this season, he's been poor, but he looks like a man reborn in the centre forward role. He looks like Firmino 17-18 all over again. Just quicker and probably a better finisher. And my camera has died. It's happened again, boys. It's happened again. Apologies. It wouldn't be.
We can still hear you. We can see you. Just look like you're about to go to your vinegar strokes, but we can. We can still hear you.
I need a new camera battery, man. It's so frustrating. There we go. Anyway, it's a little bit less HD version of me now. But yeah, I think Sadio's just been like in the last sort of 2 to 3 months, he's been one of if not Liverpool's best player, and that's how good he is.
Yeah, I think he's been brilliant. I think it was a master stroke by Klopp to move him centrally, but I do start to feel sorry for Jota now, because I thought, oh, that was going to be Jota's position, boxed off to the centre. And do you think this was always Klopp's plan when Diaz was brought in, or do you think that maybe this was a situation that Klopp envisioned having the headache in the summer and maybe looking for a resolution then? But obviously, the way the Diaz contract or the Diaz deal worked out happened in January.
Yeah, I don't think it was Klopp's plan whatsoever. To be honest with you, I think he had Mane as a sort of a backup 9, but the way that he's been playing has been amazing. He's displaced Jota whilst Jota was still scoring goals, and that's the amazing thing, because contributing to the overall play isn't Jota's sort of main talent. I think he's much more of a poacher, but I suppose he did that through ball to Salah the other day. Sadio just contributes so much more, and I think with the sort of slightly dying ember of pace that Sadio has, he's not as electric as he used to be. He's certainly more well used in the middle of the field, and then you allow the quick ones like Diaz and Mo to an extent to run at defenders and gain space.
Yeah, it's interesting times ahead. I'm a bit concerned as well about Minamino, about Elliott, and Curtis Jones to some extent, because Elliott and Minamino seem to be, I don't know, surplus to demands at the minute, or certainly not the manager's thinking at this present moment in time. Elliott worries me more than Minamino, because I think Minamino, well, he could be moved on, whereas I don't think anybody's ready to see Elliott moved on. Connor has this thought that maybe it's just a reminder of Elliott's responsibilities as a Liverpool footballer that could be seen him having a little bit of time out.
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, he's a strong character. I think he's a good person. From all the stuff he did when he was injured, he seems like he's a decent kid. He's had his disciplinary issues in the past. But yeah, I think he still had a really bad injury. He came back into the fold a little bit, probably more than Jurgen Klopp expected. And yeah, look, he's clearly a really talented boy, and obviously he's going to be involved in the next 4 to 5 to 6 years, and probably onwards from that. Curtis is another one where I just think the rotational options in midfield, he will be one of them. I don't think he'll ever be a nailed-on starter, but that still doesn't mean that he's a great little player. He's still only 21 and played 80 games for Liverpool, so he's got a lot of experience under his belt. He just needs a little bit more confidence. Taki, I think, will be off in the summer, to be honest.
So how much do you think we could expect to get from Minamino? And with Oxlade-Chamberlain's contractual situation, what would be your thought process on a fee there?
I think there'll be willing suitors for Minamino, right? After this season.
Oh, yes, I would imagine so. I'd imagine a move to Spain, Germany, fairly straightforward for him.
Do you reckon maybe Leeds would be interested? Jesse Marsh, reunite the boys together?
Potentially. Maybe someone like a Sevilla as well, I think, would be a club that I could see him in.
Because he's clear he's got talent. I just don't think he's got Liverpool level talent. And that's fair enough. He was a massive contributor to our cup teams this year. But I just don't think he'll ever have the real physicality to be a Liverpool player. He's not quick enough. I don't think he's strong enough either. Technical ability wise, I think he's great, but there's going to be a long list of suitors for him, and probably 10 to 15 million, and I think we'll make a profit. And that's fair enough. Oxlade-Chamberlain, I think it'll be a similar price range. I'm not sure there'll be as many suitors though, which is the one thing.
Where did he end up? Have a guess. Where does he end up?
Mate, I don't know who. Southampton, maybe.
Yeah, be full circle, I suppose. Then, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think they've probably got, depending on the future reward prize, obviously. Newcastle, maybe they've got their sight set a little bit higher than Oxlade-Chamberlain.
Might be a good make way, or a good middling signing to get them up a level, like from bottom end Premier League pushing towards maybe the European places. But then again, well, look, he's stayed fit, to be fair to Alex, so I don't want to use that as a debate now at this point.
Yeah, he's like, I love him, right? I've loved him ever since he's arrived at Liverpool. But again, it's a bit like Minamino. It's clear he's got talent, but unfortunately for him, it's not Liverpool level talent. Maybe it was Liverpool in 2017 level talent, but not now. Like Liverpool are a much more drilled outfit. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain would not getting. You wouldn't get him a top sort of 7 Liverpool midfielders, let alone top 3. So he's just got to be moved on. I think Newcastle, maybe Crystal Palace, somewhere like that, would do well with him. Obviously, they're losing Conor Gallagher this summer back to Chelsea, so maybe that would be a good place for him to go. But yeah.
I wonder what'll happen with him. Actually, will he have the same impact when he comes through with Chelsea as he's had at Crystal Palace, Gallagher? Because he's been brilliant for them, and he's played with a smile on his face, and he's an easy player to like, isn't he? He's quite easy on the eye to watch as a footballer, and he's quite a nice guy by the looks of it as well.
Yeah, he's a good little player, to be honest with you. I think he'll go seamlessly into Chelsea's midfield. There hasn't been enough discussion and discourse on this, how much N'Golo Kante's declined this season. I think he's been overplayed, if I'm being honest with you. He's been pretty shocking in the last few games. He looks tired. He looks slow. And that's N'Golo Kante, who looks slow. I just think he deserves a rest. I think Conor Gallagher will fill that spot perfectly. Obviously, he doesn't have the engine that Kante does, but I think he's sort of the look to the future for them.
One last thing, I seen West Ham speaking about Declan Rice and saying there was a piece on Sky that said he won't be sold this summer. Doesn't matter about fees, doesn't matter about amounts. He's not going anywhere. His contractual situation is that he's a contract till 2024, but they have an option, West Ham, of triggering another year. So they're open to selling him next summer. So, thoughts on that? Do you think somebody like United, who constantly get linked with them, and Harry Kane now as well, actually United? And I've always said, go back years on this channel, I've always said I see Kane in the United shirt someday.
Maybe. I think it's a bit of a sideways step, to be honest. I know Manchester United are a bigger club than West Ham, and they always will be. They're a global institution. But on a footballing basis, I'm sure Declan Rice is more ambitious than going to Manchester United. Surely.
I think he was let go by Chelsea, wasn't he?
He was, but then Chelsea have got no money. So, like, I don't know what the situation will be with them this summer and or next summer. But yeah, Chelsea have got. I think that's where I've always seen him going, but I'm not sure. Now with Mount, then with Gallagher coming in, will they have a need for a midfielder? Maybe. I sort of see him going abroad, Declan Rice. To be honest, if Casemiro's getting a bit older, Luka Modric and Toni Kroos are getting a little bit older, maybe Real Madrid might be interested in him. I don't know, but yeah, he's a cracking player, Rice. I've completely U-turned on him over the last few years. The way he drives forward, it's not like Gerrard, but sort of like Gerrard in the way that he charges forward, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, he's a fine footballer. What a badge kissing prick. Sorry, I never go, Chris.
Imagine Ireland with Grealish and Rice now. You might be qualifying for World Cups.
Could have Harry Kane as well, by the way.
Well, there you go. Could have been done.
I'm not Will Keane. I didn't even know Michael Keane had a fucking brother.
He's bagging him in for Wigan, though. Bless him.
Yeah, for Wigan. Harry Kane, what do you think happens with him this summer? Because obviously City won't be back in for him because they look like they're bringing in Haaland. And I would go back to your sideways step argument about Manchester United, especially if Spurs are in the Champions League and United aren't.
I don't think he goes anywhere, probably for the rest of his career. I think he's missed the boat, to be honest. Unless he ends up going to United in a couple of years' time, I don't see him going anywhere for the rest of his career now. I think if he was ever going to get that move, it was going to be last season, and Levy didn't sanction it. I don't know. City are selling Jesus, aren't they, to Arsenal? Apparently, that's going to get done. Yeah,
I did see a piece about Gabriel Jesus maybe moving on. All right, Arsenal. I could see that. Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad move.
But then his statistics are his XG, Craig, is pretty awful. To be fair, the way that he underperforms his XG. Your favorite.
They can have him, and then we'll take Martinelli.
Yeah, I don't know what Jesus' best position is really. He's one of those. He's got 85 goals in 5 seasons for Man City, but then I honestly think you stick me, you, or Paddy up top, and we get that. So I don't know. I'm not convinced on Jesus.
I don't know. Look, we shall leave it there, my friends. Tomorrow, I'm actually going to take the day off. Sorry, I just was so tired. I just think I'll take the day off tomorrow, and so we'll be back. I'll be back. This fucking blow-in over here is heading to the game, himself and Paddy. So I will be here on Sunday for a watch along, starting from 3:45 p.m. Chris, have a great time at the game. Are you sitting in the usual Stonage seats?
The Anfield Road end, mate. Block 128, where we all are. So if you are over in the Anfield Road end, please come over and say hello. It'd be nice to see you all.
Absolutely. And look, thank you to our sponsors, Surfshark. Thank you to you guys, as always, for tuning in. Thank you to everyone that sent super chats and comments tonight as well. Do drop a like on the video. Hit that subscribe button before you head off. And as I said, if you're going to watch the boxing tomorrow night, enjoy it. I'm going to be settling in to watch it as well. And I'll be back for a full match day program on Sunday. So thank you guys very much. Thank you to Mr. Chris Stonage as well. And did we get a prediction off you for the game?
Yeah, 5-0.
He's gone big. He's gone big, folks. 5-0. Go big or go home.
Got an injection of Paddy Murphy positivity in me.
Boom. Love it. Right, folks. Enjoy your weekend. Talk to you soon.